And welcome to Life Support Live, the weekly live show, that explores how Star Trek can help us to boldly go in our own lives to better ourselves and the rest of humanity.
As a famous starship captain once said, to which another famous starship captain actually a century earlier said, wherever our mission takes us, we'll try to have a little fun along the way.
Hello, everyone. I am psychologist Dr. Ali Mattu.
And I'm Dr. Trek, Larry Nemecek. One of us is a real doctor.
And as always, we'll let you decide who that might be. On this week's episode, it's amazing how this all came together, but we're talking about disguises, fear, and we're going to have a little bit of fun in the United States and in other parts of the world. It is Halloween today. We're going to have a little bit of fun today. Larry, looking good. I am, that is custom made.
This was a custom made surprise jacket for me. They're not on the show today, but two of my fan friends in the Phoenix, Tucson area, James and Scotty, did this, and I've only worn it once. It's supposed to be a Hawaiian shirt, Starfleet Next Gen, so.
I feel like that's something Neelix would really approve of.
And
Tom Paris probably too.
Yeah, it's very much for I've worn it once late night at STLV, and that's all it's gotten. But I thought, well, sure, I'll grab it today. No one's seen it really, so there you go, including me.
I love it. Jesse says it's very much a Tuvix-like uniform. Tuvix, one of my favorite episodes of Voyager. Wow.
Don't put me in the transporter. Okay.
Hey. If we could get Larry? No, that's not a good combination of Ollie and Larry. Larry. If we could get an Larry created. Yeah, in a transporter, I think our audience might actually like that host better than the two of us.
It's probably.
Yeah.
Don't touch your dial or us.
No. Hi, everyone. So we are talking about disguises, fear, and fun. Let us know in the comments section, what's your favorite episode of Star Trek that involves a disguise or some type of spooky fun? Let us know. We're going to have a lot of fun with this one. Larry, if this is people's first time here at Life Support Live, what the heck is going on?
Well, we always dress in costume. No.
We would run out of costumes very quickly.
No, hey, everybody. Welcome. If you're one of our community, if you're one of the veterans, you see people are already in the chat. I hope you've got your chat window open, whatever platform you're on. And if you're new to Life Support Live, hey, welcome. We're just trying to boldly go through uncertain times. That's what we do. We did it starting with the Corona time. We did it after this was going to be a panel at a canceled convention at WonderCon. And we thought, why not just keep it going? Let's just be uncertain every week, and more, and more reassured. But no, we look at Star Trek through a mental health lens, or we look at mental health through a Star Trek lens.
Yeah,
we do geek out. We have a lot of fun. Both of us met. Dr. Ali is actually the real doctor that's going to try to give you a takeaway for the day. I might stumble in and do something helpful too. Who knows? And but I will have a K3 factor for you by the end of the show, which is a deep dive into our topic of the week. Do we have a? Oh, yes, we do. Do we have a topic of the week? Yes, we. Wait, why is my frame?
Yeah, we do, Larry. We have.
Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah. I was getting a cut-off frame. Look, we have a. And by the end of the show, feel free to jump in. But jump in on chat anytime. Yeah. But at the end of the show, hailing frequencies, you see it over there. We have a Skype address. You can come. Yes, I know it's Skype, but you can come in and join us by audio only, or phone, or video phone. Join us on the view screen here if you want to at the end of the show. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so yes, a little more light. I don't know how Ollie, I don't know how it's possible to be any more lighthearted today, but we're going to be. with
Then last week I think we set the bar high for lighthearted. That was a ton of fun. So let's enter. I see what you did there, Larry. Let's open up the briefing room. So we're gonna dive in. So as we've been doing for a while now, since Star Trek Lower Decks came out, we take each week's episode as inspired by some aspect of the new Star Trek that we all watched this week. This week's episode is season 3, episode 3 of Star Trek Discovery, called
more
People
now
of
than
Earth.
during Lower Decks, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. Lower Decks was much more, in some ways easier, in some ways harder. I don't know. Maybe Discovery's a little bit harder. I don't know. Who knows? But we're going to have a little bit of a non-spoiler discussion of this episode, and then launch into a larger discussion. And this was a very late-minute discovery, no pun intended, on our part. But there was a Halloween and Star Trek and current day connection in this episode because it involved a little bit of a disguise. Now, we can't get way into details about what happened because it kind of happens towards the end of the episode. But Larry, I'd love your take on this episode, just a little bit, to give us a sense of what you thought of People of Earth.
Well, I started to say my take. Well, I can, and I'll do that non-spoiler. But I just want to say that there's pluses and minuses ever since we latched onto this idea of pulling our theme inspired by, and then of course we apply all the rest of Star Trek to it. This is not new show centric at all. We're just taking that as a jumping off point. And we kind of went around and around trying to, I mean, the outside world doesn't care. They just dissect the episode. And we were trying to come up with a coherent theme and not have it be too wobbly too much. But anyway, no, basically it's this, I think fandom at large is kind of agreeing with me in that these shows all seem more coherent and tighter and more like a Star Trek. I love the fact that the bridge crew is getting a lot to do, even though sometimes it feels like a token scene. But there are some moments in bigger scenes where it's, oh my God, they're letting Detmer and Owusikan actually act like human beings and not like just, automatons up there. Just keep pressing buttons. Just keep pressing. Don't stand up. Oh my God, don't stand up. Only real people stand up and move around. Just keep, So, and as far as the major plot lines, it was interesting. We had a new character added this week that's supposedly going to be around. One might be leaving. I was confused about David Ayala, but I think he's around the rest of the season. But no, and it was very interesting to me, and I don't think this is too spoiler, that they kept, even after a year, I thought they were teasing you the other way. Maybe that was just a promo tease, the way it was edited. But they made a very big point about Book and Michael's year together being platonic, which was interesting to me.
Yes.
But then, no, Saru just being Captain Lee all the time. It's official now, at least for a while. It's official now until it's not anymore, that Saru's captain for all intents and purposes. That's intents and purposes, not tense and purposes, everybody.
Although we could have tenses and purposes in Star Trek.
Yeah. No, I just thematically it felt satisfying, and the ending. I saw the promo pictures, and the ending, I thought it just was a total throwback to Strange New World on Enterprise. And I said that, and people were like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, no. The fact that it was so shocking to see the character, even though it was the front bridge crew. Like a token moment for them, but it was very satisfying, Tilly and the crew, but it was the green grass and white open sunshine of Earth threw me back to Strange New Worlds on Enterprise because it was such a big deal. And no, it wasn't a plot moment, but the fact that they're jumping around on green is not a palette color of any modern Star Trek, of any Star Trek.
We rarely see that. Yeah, we rarely see grass and green. Yeah.
Anyway, how about you?
I had a lot of fun watching this episode, and this episode, more than many we've seen in a long time, felt very Star Trek in that there was some real-world commentary and connection to our modern day. In fact, we were thinking about that real-world connection as our theme for this week until we had a last minute substitution where like, wait, we could talk about disguises. It's Halloween and we could have a little bit of fun. So I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed how there was some real easy to find social commentary there with what's going on in the world right now. So I mean, so far for me, I feel like this season has been very much warp speed ahead. I'm enjoying it, and I enjoy a lot of the character development that's happening, especially with Michael and Saru. I think there's been some great character development, and I'm very much enjoying the new people we're getting to see too. It's great to see the dynamics playing out. I think the 39th century is turning into a very interesting place. 32nd? Did I say 39? It's the 32nd, right? Did I just do a time jump in my head?
I think you did, and I didn't even notice. There was no shift.
Well, and we could spend a lot of time talking about this, but Larry, I really want to talk about disguises, fear, and fun with you here today. Our chat section has already had a ton of great episode suggestions. Yeah. When it comes to disguises, fear, and fun, what sticks out to you from the original series?
Well, that's, like I said, the easiest thing of all here is the original series, and there's two that come to mind right off.
Yeah.
One of them, the whole plot revolves around it, is good old Corbomite maneuver and Baylock the puppet and Baylock, and Baylock the Clint Howard, and I mean, come on, right. And it was also someone. Now in our episode this week, I don't know if, well, I guess it was. They didn't resolve if the disguise in question was about intimidation, or if it was some kind of, which I guess it had to be intimidation. It wasn't some kind of life support, like they ripped off Darth Vader's mask or something, and you saw the pipes and tubes there. But so I guess it was, and that was the same thing with Baylock. That's a classic one. And what's the other one I sent you? It was a long night. I put them together. I actually did you a side by side. Why don't you just pop it up there? Anyway, I had two from the original series.
Yeah. Okay.
You put it up there. I said, can you put it up there?
I did. I am.
That's Baylock.
I don't have another one.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I can put up Discovery.
Oh, well, we didn't talk about it. Do Discovery first. There we go. Is that too spoiled for everybody? Yeah.
No, I don't think we got into the... Oh, yeah, I do have another one. Sorry, Larry. Sorry, there we go. It was disguised.
And this one is actually...
Let me make it a little bit bigger for us.
Yeah, help them out. They need all the size they can get. Now, I remember when I was a kid, this was so ingenious to me. And the second or third time I saw the strings on the puppets, although now they've been removed in the remaster. But Sylvia and Cora, and this was the token Halloween episode even. I mean, Baylock wasn't. This was second season. And, the Black Cat, which I didn't put the Black Cat in, but they're using tropes of Halloween to intimidate people. But just taking a human form with a magic wand... The transmuter, not to be confused with the transtator, because a transmuter mutes and a transtator states, apparently. But the Pyrus 7 extragalactic, wherever they're from, the fact that they were tiny and made themselves bigger. Size was a big thing in Star Trek. But no, those are like the two classic, examples. And if you could even say the Kelvins, but the Kelvins were more about ease of dealing with their human captives, not so much about trying to... I think being snaky reptilian-ish, tentacle beings, a little bit like the Galaxy Quest Thermians in real life.
Yeah.
That would have been far more intimidating than just more humanoids looking, but that was more practicality. So anyway, but I think that's the original series. We have some more here in the chat, I'm sure. But,
we've got. I was scanning for TOS examples. Libby says the trouble with tribbles, definitely disguised there with our undercover Klingon. The Enterprise incident, something Scott is saying here. What's better than Kirk with pointy ears, or anyone with pointy ears for that matter?
Well, and again, we had this theme, and I said we keep getting these. We're trying to take episodes and come up with a theme that's both. And guys, if we've had some discussion about this lately, and now that we've got. We have our wonderful page, by the way. If you're new to life support, don't forget to go over and look at our Facebook page, too. We have a lot of great group discussion there. But this whole thing about how do we wrap our arms around a topic this week, because it could wobble and ooze anywhere. And are we talking about personal? Are we talking about cultural? Like the whole planet is trying to pass itself, or is it self-defense? Is it to be offensive? Is it to be sneaky, like diplomatic? Arn Darvin was a spy, so of course spies are going to disguise. Spies are going to disguise, yeah.
Spies are going to disguise.
So, we in the end we just set off, crap, it's Halloween. Let's just go for it. So yeah, it's survival mode or whether it's just to be sneaky, we'll take it all this week.
Victoria says City on the Edge of Forever, which is it's such a minimal disguise. It's more a false pretense than it is really a disguise. I guess Spock is disguised. His ears are disguised in the same way as they are in Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home.
Right.
Just
famously.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a great example here. Enterprise incident. Stuart is agreeing with over here. I'm trying to skip all the later stuff because
we're doing chronological, yeah.
Yeah, so let's
I'm
get
sorry,
into
chat. You did not get the memo about the chronological order suggestions. So
I know that'd be hard to manage. Okay, Larry, can we jump into the Next Generation?
Oh, please, let's go.
All right, as many people have already acknowledged, I think Zahir might have been the first one to bring up this. Yeah, he did. He was the first one. Let's talk about masks, shall we?
Go ahead, because I said something about rewatching it, and you said, "Oh, I'm going to also," and then I didn't. So you can.
I didn't either. I couldn't bring myself to it. So obviously, this is season 7, Larry episode, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
One of the last ones, and they spend it on masks. Yes. It's a Joe Menosky. Joe Menosky, it's like it's either awesomely wonderful a hit or it's like Darmok, or it's not, like masks. But it's always like this big idea, and Joe just tries to get his arms around it, and the rest of them try to help him. And sometimes it's a spectacular success, and sometimes it's a spectacular not a success.
So, okay. This is Life Support Live, and one of the things that Larry has done for me on the show is give me a little bit of a new perspective on episodes or films that I might have a little bit of a hard time with.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You've added a lot more texture to my love of Star Trek, right? So let's do that with Mass, because I really don't like this episode. However, for those of you who might not remember, something happens to Data, and the ship starts transforming, or he's transforming the ship to this ancient alien culture, I think.
It's like a bad SNL sketch or something.
Yeah, except it's just not funny.
Well, that's okay. Half of theirs aren't either.
That's true. So the and like Data is wearing this mask, and like there's not much more I can really say about this episode because I really don't like it. However, a lot of people I know love this episode. One of my closest friends adores this episode and has so much fun with it. So Zahir, you say Mass never gets old. Help me to understand what joy does this episode bring, because I don't want to yuck on anyone else's yum. Help me, Zahir, you're my only hope. I don't want to yuck on anyone else's yum, but I do want to understand your yum. Like, what do you enjoy? What do you enjoy about this episode, folks? I have almost no memory of Mass. I don't really remember much of Mass either.
Quite different. Yeah.
Something happened on my end. Larry, I need you to take over.
You're frozen. Me. Well, welcome to the Happy Music Twice in One Day show.
What? Spooky Halloween!
That was all planned, guys.
That was all completely
yes.
planned. All completely planned. So, folks, back from our time dilation.
Yeah.
So mass. I think whatever alien civilization impacted Data in Mask just sort of cursed me for saying ill of that episode. Because the moment I started talking about Mask, it seemed like poof, things went downhill.
It's the chase. No, and what's funny about Mask is I remember I just watched it and I went, okay. Because we're about to, right in that run of the wrap-up, it's like, okay, the holodeck becomes alive as a train with everything it ever made as a character on it. Okay. Right. I mean, it's like some of these last episodes, it was like, can we just have ended with the 6th season and then stuck a finale on?
You got to work through all that stuff to get to all good things, Larry. You have to really earn all good things.
Okay, you have to earn it. Yeah. No, it's really like not until after I saw the fan reaction to Mask. It was like, oh, I'm supposed to think Mask is ridiculous. Okay, that's what I'm supposed to do. But at the time, I was just kind of like, huh. I didn't hate it. I was just like, well, that was a perfectly good waste of 60 minutes or 48 minutes or 43 minutes, whatever.
Well, and I think here's where so I'm looking at the old chat thread from our Prime universe now that we're in this Kelvin universe here. Something
That's Kelvin. What the hell is this? But okay.
That's a good question, Larry. What Zahir said is, I just enjoyed
dimensional divide right here. The timeline.
The dimensional divide is right there. Right below, above that, you're in Hawaii. Okay. Below that, you're somewhere in the Delta Quadrant.
Okay.
Zahir said, I just enjoyed Brent acting out the different personalities. That's really it. And then Charlotte said, I prefer Fistful of Datas when it comes to Data going haywire. But both those episodes do have, they do feature Brent acting in a very different way. And I think they both are a little silly. And I think it's easier for me to tap into the silliness of a Fistful of Datas and all the westernness and all of that. It's
a holodeck, so it's like it's supposed to be acting like that, even when it's not supposed to be acting like that.
And in Mass, it's also silly. It was harder for me to suspend my disbelief with that, but it brings so many people joy that I do think I should rewatch it. I don't want to suggest it as a
remember, Mass is like the transporter is beaming in new background material. It's like it's doing a set redress in real life. Remember, it's transforming the ship areas, or at least the areas of the ship that we have sets built for, into ancient temple pieces. So anyway,
but we've got a few more when it comes to Disguises, Fear, and Fun. There was a few more TNG moments that we identified. There's one specifically, and this is one that we talked about a few episodes before, but Frame of Mind is something
we're doing a mental health show, so Frame of Mind's going to come up every 4.7 weeks. Come on.
Yeah. So tell me about Frame of Mind, Larry.
Well, aka something for breakfast. It's basically a mind F here on Frakes and this government they were visiting, and it's a wonderful, it totally breaks visual convention with the shattered image. But basically, he's in a play. Bev is got everybody in the community theater bug. If it's not Data or Barclay, it's now Riker, and he's in this wacko play. And I could have done a K3 on this, but
I'm all for bonus K3s. I love mine.
I need to consult notes on this to do it justice. But basically, this is another Brandon Braga weird shit show, but this one works. And even though the director and cast at times lost track of where they were as they shot Like, now, where are we in the one where it's within? It's like, I'll take your Moriarty inside a hologram reality bender, and hold my beer. I'll raise you. That's what Frame of Mind was, and that's what people enjoy. And that whole shattered image. It's like, how many realities does he have a breakthrough until you find out that he's really isn't he laying on a hostage bed being fed drugs by the Telonians or something? Anyway, he's in a reality within a reality within a reality most of the time, and when he thinks he's gotten out of the mind F reality, he's really just in the outer waiting area, and then he's in the lobby. It's like, how do I really break out of this theater of the absurd prison mental state that he's in? And he finally does at the end, but
that episode is actually quite scary to me, watching it, and it's not scary in the way that is it Evolutions? Is that the TNG episode where Barclay becomes a spider?
Mm-hmm.
Now that episode, Larry, I love that episode so much. I don't know.
To me, that's not Barclay as a spider. To me, that's Dwight Schultz as a spider.
So he becomes a spider, and Riker becomes some type of ape. Is that right?
Yeah. Genesis is the name of it.
Genesis, not Evolution.
I knew that was bugging me, but I couldn't. Yeah.
And what does Troy become? She's
an amphibian.
She's an
amphibian. Yeah. Ogawa is a simian. Frakes becomes a Australopithecus. He's a non.
Oh yeah.
He's not even a Neanderthal.
Yes. Yeah.
And Worf is ancient primal Klingon.
Yes. Yeah, I love that episode. It is so silly to me.
Data becomes lore. No. Data becomes B3 or B4.
Data B4. Yeah, B1.
Data becomes a vitamin injection.
B4, it's almost like they were trying to say something there to us before. Anyways.
On that is, it was going to be B9, and then they found out benign. B9, but B9. Do you know this?
No, I don't know about the B9.
Changed it from B9 to B4 because B9 was in one mention. Talk about deep canon in a show that doesn't really deserve canon. B9 was the actual model number of the Lost in Space robot.
Huh.
Who also enjoyed a really flat pun too. So they changed it from B9 to B4. There's a bonus K3 right there for you guys.
Well, I feel with Genesis, I feel very much the same way as we'll get into this in the Counselor's Log about a lot of horror films and scary movies. I love that movie. I love that episode for that reason. But getting to Frame of Mind, this episode is very scary to me. Jonathan Frakes just really sells it in that episode. He is legitimately terrified, and you don't really have a good sense of what's happening. It's very confusing, very disorienting. I think I'm just repeating myself from a previous episode of Life Support Live, but you, along with Riker, are very confused. The episode does a great job of putting you in that confusion. The facts don't line up, and in doing so, it really helps the viewer to understand one of the symptoms of psychosis. One of the main symptoms of psychosis is really confusion, is not really understanding what's happening around you, and feeling anxious and stressed and worried, trying to understand what all this stuff is. Some great comments coming in. Oh gosh, there's a comment I wanted to highlight. Yeah. Who mentioned Doctor Who?
That's up. Oh, I just saw that.
Oh yeah, Christoph said
yes.
There's a Don't Blink watch party for Whovians in a little over an hour, way scarier than any Trek I can remember. That is a phenomenal
We're trying.
episode.
Sorry, Christoph. We're doing our best.
I think Christoph is. I think there is. There's some scary episodes, but when it comes to science fiction, scary episodes, Don't Blink is a fantastic episode there. But I do think, Larry, I think Deep Space Nine's Empok Nor gets pretty close to scary. I think it can give Don't Blink a run for its money. This episode was quite scary to me watching this one. This sister station that has been booby trapped, and the Cardassians don't mess around with their booby traps. There's a lot happening here. I think it's up there.
Yeah, and you know what that reminded me of, and it's not a lot, but there's a scary moment like this, lest we forget it, in the Wrath of Khan, and the bit where McCoy, they're walking around Gamma Regula, Gamma State, and McCoy comes into the hanging bodies and runs into the arm, the classic horror trope. And they've got the spooky kind of chilling, clinky music. Ding, ding, it's like the echoey pin, the bottle falling on the empty floor, kind of chinky, 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 chinky. And then he runs into that, and they're pulling down the bodies. And then your mind sets into, oh my God, they slaughtered everyone. Like, we barely saw the characters before, but now they're all dead. But that moment when he runs into the hanging arm is so 70s, 80s,
And that's a wonderful, terrifying moment. There's a lot of those.
Nothing to do with disguises, but
But fear. Definitely there. Yeah. There's a lot of very terrifying moments in Wrath of Khan. I only discovered this as I was watching Wrath of Khan with my 3-year-old daughter. She was so into it, but I had to forward through a lot. That's what I was
This
getting.
is the international symbol for set eel in your ear. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Star Trek. Yeah.
Buried alive.
Buried alive.
Gone. Wonderful movie. But we're not talking about.
Why does it not get more love? I'm just amazed. No one ever talks about the Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, no one ever talks about Wrath of Khan. There are a lot of really great scary moments in Deep Space Nine. I'm looking at our old thread from the previous episode. There's past tense. So Charlotte mentioned past tense, and both the seriousness of Sisko pretending to be Gabriel Bell, but also Miles and Kira's trek through time trying to find them, and Kira asks to pretend to have a broken nose, and they just seem so confused by the hippies that they encounter in the 60s. I love past tense. I love past tense too. It's not only has the social commentary completely become true about San Francisco, and largely as a commentary on what's happened in a lot of our urban areas in the United States.
Yeah,
but
I don't love its prediction, but I love it otherwise.
No, but it is a great moment of disguise and of Benjamin Sisko realizing that he needs to become this individual to preserve history. It's one of those fun, before we started really thinking more in terms of multiverses with time travel, it's one of those fun linear time stories that, like, we have to fix this for the future. It's very Back to the Future in that way. That's a phenomenal episode, and another great example of a disguise that might not be so obvious, much like City on the Edge of Forever.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we're just kind of being floppy with our defining here, yes, another one that takes in disguises and or fear and or fun. So yeah. I like Charlotte. Thanks, Mom, for showing me Wrath of Khan when I was 2.
In my defense, I skipped through all the scary stuff, and the big conversation my daughter and I had was she wanted to know why are the two starships ships tickling each other so much. And that was kind of that was the bulk of our that, and then my daughter also wanted to know where's Uhura. She's like, what's Uhura doing right now? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Right now, Spock's sacrificing himself to save everyone. I don't know what Uhura's up to right now, sweetie.
That's what you. It's dum 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 dum. No. Meanwhile, in communications,
Captain, no one is communicating us right now.
we're stuck, Captain. Bring out the big heavy books.
Drach the Wach, Viridian.
Okay, well, you got me there. I just intentionally didn't. I was at a con one time with
You were at a con.
I was at a con with an actor named David Orange, who is now writing books. But he was like the sleepy. No, he wasn't the sleepy Klingon. He was with the sleepy. Anyway, he was like a 1-line, 2-line Klingon in Star Trek VI, which is like a fate worse than death. I'm sorry, but of all the outings to be a 2-line Klingon in Star Trek VI, it's like, well, here's the last time we're just doing Klingons like cheaply because the actors we didn't have to sign an actor to a regular contract in a series. So every actor we have doing Klingons who's a real actor is like, you're not putting that crap on me. So they all have wimpy light Klingon faces. But anyway, he was like reciting all of his Klingon out of the movie. And I was just like, wow. He remembered his 3 lines.
Do you remember which Klingon he was?
I want to say he was the sleepy Klingon or he was the Klingon in the outpost. He was the Klingon in the outpost. Yeah.
The Drach, the Vach, Viridian, that one?
Something. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I love that Klingon. I love that. And then he says something. Yeah, he says something, and then he starts laughing. And then Scotty is looking at her like, and she goes, ha. It's a lovely moment. All right, back to Deep Space Nine.
What a couple they were.
Nathaniel says, how about Nog in It's Only a Paper Moon, taking on the identity of a casino bigwig in order to avoid fear? That's a great episode.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've done our live watch of that, but that also taps into a different aspect of disguises. I think an aspect that has more of a tie-in to today and what we're doing right here. How we might dress up in a way and then take on some of the aspects of that character.
We're talking about therapeutic fear. Yeah, the thing I was talking about, that it's like, well, of course it's Halloween and all that, but to keep it not dated is also fear in a weird way, like intentional fear, like I'm going to scare myself with a scary movie, is a defense against anxiety, which is kind of, or a break. People are anxious about politics and the election right now, and we're just looking for something, even if it's mindless, even if it's almost like, pinching ourselves or something. Or poking ourselves just to get out of at least that may be painful, but at least it's a different pain than the ongoing numbing anxiety of worrying about politics right now. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's a little bit. Yeah, that does make sense. I'll dive into that in the counselor's log, and that's a little bit of why we wanted to talk about this today. We wanted to have a little bit of fun. And we debated, should we
Captain Pike admonished us? Yes.
Yes, exactly, as Captain Pike likes to remind us about that. We debated going a bit more serious and heavy, but ultimately we thought it might be a little bit better for us to have a little bit of fun. Voyager has some scary, really terrifying episodes, Larry. There's a lot. I brought up macrophage.
You mean scary as the point of they're actually trying to keep up their ratings?
Scary as in, oh my gosh, Ali was terrified by some of these episodes. I brought up macrophage as the big example of scariness, and then you topped me by bringing up this episode right over here.
Oh, well, yeah. Yes. And I was shocked that this episode was as good as it was. I'm sorry. I was like, wait, this is a Voyager episode. Why is it this off skew? How did they break the bland mold here with this one? But yes, everybody hate me, but this is third season Voyager too. No, it was really chilling. And they did, Brandon was doing a good job with this one, and Joe, and that it was that same reality bending reality within a reality. It wasn't as convoluted as Something for Breakfast. Not second chances.
The name of this episode again, Larry, do you remember, for our future podcast listeners?
I started to say it's not Oh, the thaw, the thaw.
The thaw, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this image of the clown and all of the characters going along with it
I'm
was really
afraid. I know.
it was really terrifying, and it kind of taps into that fear of clowns that some people have, and it brings up feelings of Stephen King's It a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I did not like watching that episode when it first came out. But what this episode shows me is something you and I talked about a long time ago on Life Support Live, which is this big universe of Star Trek in terms of genre. We have Western episodes. We have social commentary episodes. We have silly comedic episodes. We have Spock's brain, whatever the heck that is, and Cat's paw.
It's
We have
everything. Hey, you kids, it's 2 in 1. Yeah.
we
Silly and
have
scary.
swashbuckling action adventure, but we also have character moments. We have
Mm.
Beverly and her
Say it.
ancestors and the Scottish ghost, whatever the heck that is.
Beverly's matriarchal family that kept taking the woman's last name in Scotland. Yes, yes. Because that's the thing
Oh
I take
man.
from that episode. That's the one I
Oh my
took.
gosh. But there's a lot of diversity. Star Trek is a lot of different things, and the Thaw is a great example of that. That
Star Trek diversity.
all, yeah, yeah, almost like an infinite combination of diversity there. Um,
Well,
so
let's set something to celebrate. Okay.
so that's a the Thaw is a great reminder, and a lot of these episodes are a reminder that Star Trek can actually be quite scary too. As much as
Hmm.
it can be about social commentary. Sometimes I get stuck on, well, Discovery doesn't have enough social commentary. And I need to remind myself that Star Trek is a lot of different things. And there's a lot of ways to tell a Star Trek story.
Star Trek is a lot of things, including some seasons were better than we are in other seasons, or half seasons. Yeah. Well, what do you mean Discovery isn't very Star Trekky? They always let you know with the music when they're in a Star Trek moment.
That's true. That's true.
Original series or the next gen theme? Oh no, the next gen theme comes up in Picard or Voyager, but in Discovery it's the original series. The chat's going really great here. I want to say hello, Mary Nazinski. Looks like you're new with us this week or first time to speak up. Yay. Hi.
Oh, Mary says, speaking of the Thaw, her
Yes.
two favorite Voyager episodes actually aired back to back, the Thaw and Tuvix. I forgot about that. Yeah, there is this period in Voyager. I remember on my rewatch a couple years ago where I was like, "Wow, that episode was really good. Wow, that episode was really good. Wow,
I
that
didn't.
episode was really good."
Oh, see, I keep thinking Tuvix's first season, but it's second season. Yeah, that's yes. Yeah, there you go.
I think
Uh,
there's a first season episode that to me was scary in a different way, and Larry, you'll probably identify it, or someone in the chat will. It's an episode where B'Elanna comes face to face with this ancient civilization of androids or something, and they're sort of at war with each other. And in some ways, it's similar to other themes we've seen, but it scared me in how sad it was that these two civilizations were at continuous
you mean the
war.
robots, the
Yes,
silver-faced robot?
the
Yeah,
silver-faced
yeah.
robots. I think that's a very early episode, and I completely forgot about it. But
Prototype.
prototype, I think that might have been it. Yeah, that was quite sad and scary to me. That episode. Voyager has a way of surprising you in that way with these different
I really
things.
should do a rewatch of Voyager just so I can look at it from eyes that weren't like being dragged through the mud as it was being made. Okay.
Well, you had insider experience that was that I think has
In hearing
impacted your
about
lens.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Let's.
that. Jared said he wasn't scared of Michael McKean's The Thaw Clown because all he saw was Lenny from Laverne and Shirley in makeup. There was kind of that too. Yeah.
Oh man, Charlotte brings up a great. Speaking of Voyager, Charlotte brings up a great quote from Janeway. Fear only exists for one purpose: to be conquered. Which I think that's a lovely quote. I think it also exists for the purpose of keeping you safe, but that's a different story.
We've done that
all
one
right.
already.
Enterprise has
fear
yeah, we did do that one. Enterprise has a really great, scary,
wait,
silly.
Did we do Empok Nor from DS9?
We evoked it. We talked a little bit about
okay.
it. Yeah.
Let's
talk about this one, Larry. This is an Enterprise episode that you...
The Token. This is like the Token. Well, it's like the Token fear one, because it's the Vulcan zombies.
Vulcan zombies.
And we have the power to talk about Impulse.
So this was, okay. I'll give you that. Okay. So, Larry, I don't remember anything about this episode besides that there's Vulcan zombies. What's going on?
It's an early Expanse. The whole thing about why the Expanse was going to be scary was it turns, your universe is turned inside out. We've had horror stories of ships malformed and their crews are all dead. It's like a transporter inversion or something, and they finally find one of those ships that's Vulcan, and the crew's all zombies, but it's all wrapped up in the Trellium debilitation that T'Pol is starting to suffer from, and they're not really zombies. They'll always be with us as long as we think of them. No, they're suffering from debilitating effects, and T'Pol's going to be the same way if we don't figure out how to save her. But meanwhile, here's a ship of all future T'Pols who were like acting like zombies, and yeah, it's the whole arms and legs groping for you through the door out the window kind of, the original Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Onward, zombie.
Yeah. I love that Star Trek can do that. that you can have, on the one hand, you can have episodes that are so serious, and on the other hand, you can have Vulcan zombies. Like, who doesn't want Vulcan zombies? That's amazing. I don't remember being too scared by this one. I thought it was fun and silly, but
Well, they said for 3 weeks, oh, it's the Vulcan zombie one. Oh, it's the Vulcan zombie one coming. Oh, you're gonna like this. It's Vulcan. And by the time that, it was like, oh yeah, it was a lame attempt to do Vulcan. The story was okay, but as far as oh look, it's Vulcan zombies. That was like, okay, fine. And I'm not a big zombie person, but
I was a big Walking Dead fan until all the stories just seemed to completely repeat themselves. I left Walking Dead about season 5 or something like that, and
somebody who's into illusion and all that and metaphor would shoot me, but I'm just like, how do you do one story, let alone season after season of people running away from undead zombies after them? I know it all turns on to the other humans are the monsters,
right?
But
but
the other humans are the monsters. Much. Okay, for 5 seasons, different ones. Okay, yay. I mean, sorry, I don't.
Christoph says Vanishing Point.
Yes, I thought of Vanishing Point. Yeah,
it's a bit scary, prankish too. Which one is Vanishing Point, Larry?
Isn't that the Organians, Christoph? You got me point blank here, where the Organians are inhabiting different Enterprise bodies. And yeah.
That was a little scary and also a little bit fun.
Hey, right above, since you got your finger on the button, right above Christoph in the chat, Joe Stafford. I want to do a shout out to Joe. He's new to us, but he's an old friend of one of my best buds here in California. The guy who got me to go to Comic-Con in San Diego the first year, Lee. But Joe's got a good point there. He's talking about the man trap actually being horror if you're not used to shapeshifters and things.
Which I don't think many people were in 1966. That is actually quite a scary episode.
A tiny little budget. It was kind of scary. Yes.
Yeah.
And unnerving. It was unnerving in a Twilight Zone budget, but in Technicolor way. Does that make sense? Yeah.
That's a good one. Um, let's see, Larry. What do we have after Enterprise? I was thinking of the Kelvin timeline. Um, I mean, we could maybe talk about Khan, but I'd rather not talk about Khan.
Oh, have we done
Uh,
it again?
no,
Yeah.
we're here. We're here. Um, so.
Okay. It was scary, but not for the reasons we stated. Yeah.
I'm
I'm just saying.
my criticism of that is there really haven't been too many South Asian characters in Star Trek to date. We did have Captain Robo, who was R- Captain
Robot. Isn't it Robot?
Roba, from who
It's
was the captain of the Kelvin
right.
in 2009. There's also a South Asian admiral, I believe, in Star Trek 4 who has a distress call. But anyways, there's not that much representation for the
Well, the
Pakistan,
family
India,
that plant the
Bangladesh.
bomb in Stead.
Right. There's that. So yeah. But Khan Noonien Singh is from South Asia. Was played by a Latino actor, Ricardo Montalban, who was a person of color. So recasting him as a very white British man was, I think, problematic. The Star Trek comic has a explanation that they changed his appearance so that no one would recognize him. Okay, but
It's
you
Oh,
know
look,
that
once again, another retcon to save a Kelvin movie.
yeah,
Uh,
that was a problem for me. And I love Star Trek Into Darkness. There's a lot of things I really love about the movie, but that was something that to me
oh,
was scary for a different reason. Yeah, I do think that Larry, you would know better. They were going to cast someone else in that role, and that individual backed off, and that was also a Latino actor. He actually was in a recent Star Wars film. He was in The Last Jedi, I believe, if I remember correctly.
oh,
The name.
thanks. You caught me not really paying attention to the development of Kelvin
Let
films.
me look it up. Let me look it up.
Meanwhile, I want to thank Christoph for correcting me because I always get Vanishing Point wrong. Vanishing Point was a transporter accident that Hoshi is actually stuck in the buffer and she's hallucinating. It's like a whole episode pulled out of just a few seconds of buffer time, which someone mentioned earlier. We didn't say during the TNG times. Realm of Fear, and even though plexing may not be a great technique, Barclay's fear of transporting, and then he's proven right in one particular case. They had an invasion via transporter beam. The
um,
transporter beasties.
right. So, Larry, the person I was thinking of is Benicio del Toro. So, Benicio del Toro
Oh,
was walked away from Star Trek Into Darkness and was rumored at the time to be playing Khan, who I think would have been wonderful in that role. But
mhm.
I don't know if you have any K3s on that, but hey, folks,
Obviously not on that one.
there's a Doctor Ali K3 for you. And
Thank
in
you.
true Doctor
It's
Ali K3
Halloween.
form,
How scary can that be? Yes.
yeah, I have no more story or details to share with you, but there's that. Um, there you go. Have a
There we
drink.
go.
It's Doctor Ali K3.
Kennedy Space Center. I like your mug.
Thank you. This was STS 125. I saw the launch there with my buddy Matt and I. We went to go see the launch of the Atlantis mission to repair the Hubble, one of the
Well,
final
very good. I
space
never
shuttle
got
launches.
over to see most of the shuttles happened when I was not I had the means to go to Florida. But Janet saw well, Janet was going to see one because one of our friends was a engineer that oversaw the fueling of the shuttle. And she went,
Wow.
but then they had to play, so she missed the launch, but she at least saw it sitting on the pad.
It was very hard. I mean, I lived on the East Coast, so my friend and I drove down to see it. But it's so hard to catch the window when the launch happens because the windows can change so much. So you really have to planned to be there for a number
Oh,
of
the
days.
time window. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not getting anywhere near the rocket. You can catch the window if you want to. I don't know why, but yeah. Hey, listen. I just saw a bunch of good comments. One thing. Hello to Alanka from Germany, who's with us for the first time, but she's been around my social media for a long time. And where
Hi,
was
Alanka.
this? Oh, Ahil Sahil on Discovery, who recently playing the Lone Federation Sentry.
Yes. Which
and I
was...
think he's I think he's followed every person on Twitter who mentioned him.
Yeah,
Very happy guy to be in the Star Trek.
I gave him a little
international
congratulations on Twitter and talked about how much I love that role and that
there you
how
got
much that
there you got a heroic South Asian. Yes.
Yeah, and his portrayal, I think he really captured a lot of what Starfleet and the Federation mean to Michael, but then also to us as fans, and his acting was just so emotional. I loved it. So I just sent that on Twitter, and then he DM'd me and said thank you. And I'm like, what? This doesn't happen. That's so nice. So it seems like a really sweet guy. I don't know if we'll see him again this season. I hope we do. I'd love to see him again. Larry, anything from Picard or...
No, I was... Well, see, Picard, again, Picard's all about intrigue and spying, and, you've got... I mean, again, some of these are easy if you go just with disguises. Oh, look, it's a pointy-eared Romulan disguised as a pointy-eared Vulcan. Oh, wait, she's by species anyway. I mean, people pretending to be what they're not, and
a Romulan admiral, right, with the cool shades,
right, with a full Romulan aide de camp. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Starfleet. Oh, look, it's the androids disguised as real humans in the beginning. Okay. So, as far as like total appearance shifting, I don't know that we did. Maybe we did. I'm not thinking, but yeah, it's kind of like, the subterfuge and disguise was like the running arc of Picard. So.
Oh, Jesse says Free Cloud. And Free Cloud.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry. Disguises and fun in the same episode. In Star Trek? What? Yeah,
that was one of those. That's Star Trek Picard doing its silly, wild, wonderful thing that Star Trek can do. And so going to that casino planet, which I think Libby would back me up on this. Where was Quark? Like, I would have loved to have seen a little bit of Quark or Ferengi representation in
Elder
that episode.
Quark.
Yeah,
Quark with long ear hair.
Yeah. Like, as the Negus, like, what? What did you say? Yeah, Latinum, you got some? Okay, let's talk. That would have been...
Let's talk. Yeah.
That would have been really wonderful to see.
In the chat here, Zahir says, did we talk about the Darkling? Do you see this? It's just 4 up from the bottom. Yeah.
Yes.
Post it. Other people have a clown phobia. Mine's an irrational fear of evil doctors. Yeah.
Zahir, we're going to have to reevaluate our friendship.
Yeah. Did you know there's a mini K3? So Bob Picardo is wearing a little piece that went over his gum to kind of give his lip a little different profile.
A little mini 3. Mini K3.
Yep. These mini K3s are going to be so much better than the real K3.
Let's see. Okay, so
sound good to me.
Let's see. I think that kind of does it for the canon, right? I think that kind of brings us up to now.
Boom. Someone, we were talking about Lower Decks, and somebody. Well, there's some disguises. Somebody said, I'm apologizing right now. Mentioned that Mariner was a fan of Khan, which is not anything about disguises, fear, and fun, but yeah.
I think Lower Deck starts with a moment. I don't think there's any spoilers here to say Lower Deck starts with a moment of fear and fun, where Mariner is a little inebriated and takes a bat
A
left and
little.
sort of maybe a lot and takes a
Well,
bat left
you
and
had
sort of
well, no, you had the disease attack of zombies in
yes. Yes, we did.
the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
episode.
yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely had that. There's
It
a
was a
lot of
monster.
there's
Before
a
you know it
lot
was
of
a
that.
cow, it was a monster sucking on Boimler. So, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of those moments. And with that, Larry, I think we should jump into the counselor's log.
I think we're overdue. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Let's jump into the counselor's log. This is where I do a little bit of a deeper dive into some of the psychology behind the stuff we're talking about. And today we're really we're having a lot of fun, Larry. So I want to talk about the fun aspects of all of this, and I want to talk about Halloween, but also cosplay, because the two are very much related. One of my friends, a friend of the show, Dr. Drea Lettamenti, has done some work on the psychology of cosplay, has done some research in this area. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of real interesting reasons why people dress up and why people create costumes. Part of it is really about the artistry, and people like the craft. They really get involved in the creation of it. I'm not one of those people, Larry, because I'm not very good at that. I buy.
Look at you. You bought that just fine.
I'm very good at purchasing costumes that have been made. I'm not so good at the artistry of it, but some people do it largely for the
You're good at
artistry of it.
you're good at cosplay.
Cosplay. Yes. Yes, I am.
What did it cost? Okay, I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, don't ask me how much this costs. That's what my wife asked, and I might have beamed out of that situation. Could have really used a personal transporter in that moment. Some of it is
Okay.
about the cost. Sometimes it's about the relationship to the character, and it's about ways in which you have a connection to that character. One of the reasons I got this was because I wanted, because of my connection to Spock and how much I love the portrayal
Not
of
Carol
Spock.
Marks.
Not Carol Marcus. No. One other problematic area of Star Trek Into Darkness. But we might have a relationship to a character. We've talked about parasocial relationships, how we have relationships with people we haven't met or characters who don't exist in real life, but they still have impacted us in some way. Sometimes we like to dress up for that reason. And then sometimes it's about community, Larry. Like, how many times have we been at a con or at a Halloween event and recognizing a character and connecting with other people who are dressed in the same way. One of my favorite things about a con, or when I used to live in New York, we used to have a Halloween parade where families and people would dress up and kind of march in the streets together just for fun.
Hmm.
And anytime I saw another Star Trek person, it always like, "Hey, yeah, no, this, oh, nice, you look great." It's a way of connecting with community. So, by and large, dressing up is largely a great fun thing, a way to connect with people.
It is. Sorry, I was just remembering the days when we used to march in the streets for fun.
Yeah, I know. I
Okay,
know.
okay.
It'll be
Anyway,
back. It'll be
it
back.
will be back. Yeah, yeah.
I do need to say though, the thing with mass, mass are a little bit of a different story. So when we feel less like we can be personally identified, we can blend in with a crowd more. It's something called disinhibition, and not depersonalization, social disinhibition. So, in other words, if you feel like you're less personally identifiable, you can more blend into a crowd for better and worse. So sometimes this can loosen you up and make you more comfortable, and you can do more things in a crowd. You can act in a silly way, but also it can lead to some negative stuff too. So yeah, if a crowd is doing aggressive things, doing violent things, it can be a little bit easier for you to do that as well. Masks make this easier, but then also sometimes if you're just in a very big crowd and you don't think anyone's going to be able to personally identify you, the same thing can kind of happen. So for better and worse, masks do make it easier for you to go along with what a crowd is doing. And then,
Yeah,
oh, go
for
ahead,
better
Larry.
for worse. You
For
almost
better
say
and
that
worse.
social media is a crowd.
It can be, especially
The
if you're
darker
not.
aspects of, well, I mean, the darker aspects of social media. We always talk about where people feel liberated to act on their baser instincts. If
Yeah,
you don't have that trouble if you're trying to it's something noble or something good, but people that think, you'd never do that face. When we talk about toxic fandom, and when you're live at a con, nobody walks around bad mouthing things to the degree that we see things trashed online.
yeah,
People wouldn't just run, they wouldn't run with it when it's, if they were face to face, people wouldn't say the things, even personally, much less, you know,
yeah.
metaphorically or franchise wide. So yeah, I just had a flash there of, I see the mask aspect applied to individuals to the negative online as part of
Yes.
social media.
Yeah, there's two things that are playing out there. One is on the internet if you aren't personally identifiable, and then the other thing is eye contact. Face to face eye contact is one of those things that really humanizes us. It really puts on the brakes of a lot of the more toxic aspects of humanity. And in person, we have that. But if you have a mask, well, that's a barrier there to having that eye contact. And then online, obviously, it's very hard to have that contact. I do want to talk about scary movies and scary shows for a moment. Um, some people really love them. Some people don't. Larry, I don't know where you fall on this. You're not a fan
I'm
of
not.
scary stuff.
I don't enjoy being goosed constantly. Yeah, and also it's just like the trope of it. Like, okay, here's a movie where they're gonna try to scare me over and over again. They probably will. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the way I. It's like, why do I subject myself to this? Like, why would I make myself go, ah, ah, ah? It's like giving yourself a heart attack every 10 seconds. It's like, why is enjoyable? I understand endorphins and release and blah, blah, blah. But I no, it's like I'm not a big fan of roller coasters. I can endure
Mm.
it
Mm-hmm.
just to show that I'm not scared of it, but I don't enjoy it. And maybe
Yeah.
it's something deep seated about loss of control and control. I don't know.
Well,
You'd
no, no,
enjoy
no.
it,
I think it's a
you
much
know.
simpler explanation. I think it's a way simpler explanation. So, roller coasters is a good example, as are scary movies and horror
You're
films.
welcome.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's a good one. You're welcome. If for all the Moana fans out there, it's a movie I've seen probably over 100 times now. One of my daughter's favorites. Uh, but a lot of the reasons why people love scary films is it is controlled fear, and you know that you're in a safe place. And there is a thrill to being activated in that way, to your heart jumping, to those jump scares. It's a way to experience fear in a very controlled and safe way. However, Larry, there's diversity to how intensely we all experience fear. There's diversity to how intensely we all experience different emotions. We're all a lot of that is genetic. When we're born, the our DNA has set the dial up and down on different levels of emotions. For some of us, we just experience a lot more emotions. We're more, I'm sorry, we experience a lot more anxiety. We're much more cautious. Where anxiety, a jump scare doesn't feel good to us. It feels overwhelming. Then there's other people where anxiety is set very low. These are people who are more thrill seekers. They like to be scared. They like to push the limits. It helps them to feel alive. And then there's a lot of people right in the middle where it depends on the context. And of course, experiences can change that. If you go through very difficult situations, that might turn the dial up or down. But I think this is a really easy way to explain why some of us might like being scared. Some of us
Mm-hmm.
don't. And then also what we find scary might vary. As Zahir said, evil doctors or something that scare him. For some people, it's zombies. So there's diversity here, but it's okay if you like this stuff. It's okay if you don't like this stuff. There's a lot of diversity here, and that's just totally fine. I'm in the middle myself. Sometimes I like a good scare. Sometimes I don't, and it kind of just it kind of just depends. So as we roll into the K3 factor, folks, let us know if you have a favorite scary movie. If there's something you like watching and you like the thrill of that,
Yeah.
let us know in the comments below. For me, it's Jaws. That's my favorite scary. It's more of a suspense thriller than it is like a horror kind of thing. But I feel the same way with Jaws as I do with Jurassic Park and Alien. I love those kind of scary moments. Larry, we're well overdue for a K3. What do you got for us today?
Yeah, well, I want to go to one that I think we didn't even talk about it in the run of things, but and again, if you're new to Life Support Live, K3 is the only mention of mental health in the original series, aside from a psycho tricorder in Wolf on the Fold. It's actually there on McCoy's bio bed, so that's why I took it as an homage to this part where we're going to take today's theme, and rather than give you something for daily living, actually go and deep dive into Star Trek a little more, like we do every month in Trekland on all my programs. So yeah, the K3 this week is an episode we didn't mention, but I sent you an image. It's a Voyager. And you kind of get a clue from the title. Oh, yeah. And I don't know if anybody mentioned it even in the chat.
No, I don't think so.
The Haunting of Deck 12, which kind of gives it away, right? It's actually literally ghost stories around a plasma lantern campfire. Kind of like on the nose. So anyway, no, I just only for the fact of just a little insight on that. So people, they may enjoy it. It's just trying to be an all-out, ghost story or whatever. But this was a story that that Brian Fuller, when Brian Fuller was baby Brian, his second year of professional writing on Voyager, he wound up getting most of the script credit for it. But it actually started with a story pitch from Mike Sussman, who wound up being a staff writer on Enterprise and was a big fanboy. But it uses the dronelings, the drone babies, the twins, and Zadi and Icheb, and it jumps into the middle of it, but Neelix is basically telling them a ghost story, and they're all scary, and it's cute because Icheb is like being the fan who's like going, no, wait a minute, what? He's like he's like the cannon poker. So anyway, and originally it was going to be Naomi Wildman telling the ghost story to the other all the drone kids, the Borglets, but they decided that was kind of a lot to, she was Scarlett Palmer's was like 9 years old at the time. They thought that was a little too much weight to throw in a 9-year-old at the time. So they redid it. He sold 3 or 4 or 5 stories. He'd sold about 3 stories, and they were trying to give him a chance to write the script, but they kept running out of time or something was problematic. And so finally they said, okay, this is the way things work in TV. They were like, this is the way things used to work. Now when you have 10 episodes a season, it's like we have 42 producers and only 10 or 12 story slots. So we're not worried about outside writers. But in the good old days, when they had freelancers, so they were trying to give Mike a shot to write a script, and it's like, okay, the good news is we're finally going to give you a chance to write the script for this one. The bad news is we're finally going to give you to write the script for this one, because it turned out to be, he said, well, he told me, he says, well, if the ship was cursed, then this script was cursed. And it wound up being, their names are all over it in different capacities, but it wound up being, he just was talking about, it was the end of the season. He was burned out even as a freelancer. They were kind of burned out. He said it was like a techie show with no character. He was having a hard time with it. And Brian, and actually Ken Biller did it too. And Mike thought that, well, there was my chance and I blown it. I didn't step up. I didn't prove myself. I'll never get on staff. Well, they did give him a second try. It wound up being Body and Soul later with the doctor in Seven's body, which it just struck me is also a disguise show. Kind of elaborately, not scary, but unless you're into Bob Picardo acting like Jerry Ryan acting like Seven, if that's scary. But anyway, here's your K3. Brian, when he got the script and they did it, actually wrote 13 pages of scenes extra to put character moments in, and the whole thing of Tau Celeste, Zoe McClellan's character, who you saw in who was one of the 3 underclass crewmen in Good Shepherd. They brought her back just because they could get it was somebody recently that had been seen, and they could get the actress. She had the schedule open. That's one of the accidents of Star Trek. Sometimes the most memorable scenes are character scenes that never would have been written, except they needed to get somebody who could shoot this on nothing and do it late, so they could shoot it and stick it in and pad out a show, because they would be, now that's such a not problem now with streaming. But back in the day when you had to have a certain time frame for commercials in a network slot, or even a syndicated slot, had to fit everybody else. Anyway, so if you enjoyed The Haunting of Deck 12, it's it didn't have as tortuous a setup as some episodes, but it really was one of those that grew along the way. Yeah, Brian made Neelix the central character of the show, and thought that it was very creepy because, when Neelix is creeped out, then it's even creepier because he's supposed to be the adult and all that. Anyway, Jerry Ryan broke her foot just before they filmed this show, so they had to pull back on her scenes, her effect shots, and they had to, that limited what they could have her do. So anyway, it wasn't quite a cursed show, but it felt like a little bit. Anyway, it was entertaining. It was entertaining, and they they didn't do smoky effects for some of the plasmas. They actually did digital smoke. It was a kind of a breakthrough, and they won a visual effects Emmy. The vendor house was Digital Muse at the time, but anyway, they won a visual effects Emmy for this show too. So there you go. How about that for a K3?
Yay. Yeah. I completely forgot about that episode, and that's great. I love when Star Trek does these everyday moments, but in the future. In one of my favorite scenes in all the movies is Star Trek V. The Final Frontier, with Kirk, Spock, and Bones around the campfire. And Spock has that ridiculously advanced marshmallow or marshmelon, whatever your perspective. Yeah, container.
Product placement.
Why do you need such an advanced container for that? So I love that Neelix is telling these ghost stories around
only the good things
lamp.
From craft. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love when Star Trek does that.
George O'Hurley would have been so proud. Okay.
All right, folks. Let's go into our away mission here. This is where you can take some aspect of today's show and apply it to your life. So I have a very simple away mission for us today. I know not everyone.
Oh, good.
I try to make it very simple each week, but today is very, very simple. So I know not everyone observes or celebrates Halloween, even in the United States and then also outside the United States. And I know we're all in a difficult time right now, and all with the coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic. Mm-hmm. So all of this complicates things. However, for those of you who are interested in observing some aspect of Halloween, my question to you, the question I want you to answer as a part of this away mission is, what does Halloween mean to you? Is it about candy? Is it about dressing up? Is it about seeing other people's costumes? Is it about celebrating fear and scary movies? Is it about just getting together with people you like to have fun with? Is it about seeing childhood joy? What does it mean to you? And actually let us know in the comments, what does Halloween mean to you? And then I know there's a lot
what does Halloween mean to me? I don't know, I'm sorry, I just
um, I mean, that's a question I have for you, Larry. And then, there's so much diversity in the United States, and I know in the rest of the world about how safe it is to go out and to do these things.
Hmm.
But my away mission is really to connect
You mean in a
with
normal year?
it. In it,
Because right now, well, like there are a lot of, I don't know, I think it's widespread, but there are a lot of places where there's no house to house trick or
there's
treating.
no, yeah.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
most
yeah.
parts, of the country, there's not. Um, but even there, there's
I
diversity
mean, this year for
of
COVID, for the pandemic. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, even there is some diversity about how um, what areas have banned it, what areas are allowing. So things are sort of up in the air. But the my away mission is to really connect with what does it mean to you, and then what's one way in which you can experience that thing today. Like I do like I always love dressing up as anything Star Trek, but for me it's also about fun, candy, and some kind of seasonal movie. Like I do like the aspect. I do like seasonal movies. I'm a sucker for a scary movie around Halloween. Even if it's like more fun scary, like Ghostbusters. I think Christoph mentioned Ghostbusters here. Um, I'm a sucker for more Thanksgiving-y kind of movies around Thanksgiving, and I'm a sucker for more holiday kind of movies around Christmas. That's a lot of fun for me. So I'm
Main
curious.
takeaway there is I'm a sucker for you.
Well, I'll let that slide since it's Halloween. Larry, what do you? I mean, what does Halloween mean to you? Do you have anything you really love to do on this kind of day?
See, there are a lot of holidays anymore that I just think of them as, and I don't mean to like write myself off, but I always think of them as kid
Mm-hmm.
movies. Now, last year, in fact, I shared this on socials. I pulled out a character that I did because to me, it's like we have conventions all year long, and when I was younger, I did cosplay. I did McCoy. I did Telluride Doctor.
You have a great McCoy.
I did it well, and then some say I almost did it a couple of times on continues, but last year, for the first time, I actually went to a Halloween party and actually did a joke dress up that I did like in the 80s. I did the janitor of Starbase 47,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I
You
added a
posted
little more
that in
to it.
our group.
And but mostly a lot of holidays, Easter is this way, and it's got a religious, certain religious background to it. But there are a lot of holidays that I enjoy for kids and young
Yeah.
kids. And it's like if I'm cut off from kids or my kids are older and now I've got a couple of grandkids, but if I'm cut off from them, they lose some of the impact for me. But like I said, last year was the year I tried to reclaim a little Halloween, and it was fun. And this year had the Halloween claimed from all of us. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really enjoy seeing kids, especially. That's a holiday where I just enjoy seeing, and then the trick or treating and doing candy and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's always fun to be the one passing out candy.
Give it away. Make sure it's all given away.
Yeah, otherwise it ends
Nothing
up
left around the house
in your
except the little
valley.
crackle Nestle's Crunch bars. Those are
Oh,
killer.
I like crackle. I'm a fan
Yeah.
of crackle. That's actually that's a fun question to ask folks. Is what's your favorite Halloween candy? I'm a big fan of Mr. Goodbar. I love Mr. Goodbar.
Oh, Janet's a big peanut person. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Reese's Pieces or Reese's is a big one for me. Babe Ruth, I love all those. But this is one of the things about this year of the pandemic, and probably will spill into over to next year as well. Is we need to still have some connection to
Hmm.
customs, rituals, community. That's really important for us, and that's part of the reason why we dressed up. It's part of the reason why we wanted to have a Halloween special. It still gives us some sense of community.
Especially the week before this election.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially
Good
that.
timing there, Halloween.
So, I know. So Libby says, usually Halloween is about dressing up and hopefully being invited to some kind of event with friends. Not this year. The first time I haven't dressed up, but today is about memories and just wait until next year. So yeah, it's a great way to share some memories. Folks have been doing that on our Life Support Live Facebook page. This might be a fun time to share on social media one of your favorite costumes from years past, or if you'd like to dress up in in the way that Larry and I did, you can always share that on social media. Scott says, I haven't been into Halloween as an adult. I'm not a partier, and without a party, there's not much motivation to spend time and money on a costume. I do enjoy scary movies, mostly older ones, but for me, Halloween is really about the season and the weather, colors, smells, and getting into that. Christoph has an interesting perspective here. For us Europeans, Halloween is a US-based turbo capitalism event. We have a lot of turbo capitalism events. Most of our holidays are turbo capitalism events. So candy and blackish pumpkinish menus in some restaurants, and hoping the trick or treat doesn't swap over here too. Yeah, I definitely get that. Jared says, I've been watching Hallmark Christmas movies all week.
It's okay, Jared. Hallmark, they got it all covered. Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving. Talk to your left-handed uncle day. Whatever it is, they've got it covered. So yeah, turbo capitalism.
Yeah, Charlotte says Charlotte's not huge into the dress up, and if Charlotte does dress up, I can put together something with the least effort. I do enjoy, Larry. I actually enjoy people who put together a costume that's the more thinking one. It's more conceptual, and might just be like a hat and a shirt, but like if you know the in joke, you get it. But Charlotte does say, I do enjoy watching some of my favorite films for nostalgia's sakes. Hocus Pocus! Yes! That is an amazing movie. Addams Family and the like. Zahir says, to me, Halloween has become getting together with friends, eating candy, and watching some seasonal movie all night. Tonight, I'm doing so virtually with some friends, but we're doing a Sean Connery movie tonight. Probably Welcome to the Rock. That's a great movie. As a Bay Area native, Zahir, you and I appreciate all the San Francisco moments from that. The Rock is a ton of fun. Peanut butter cups. We got to vote here for peanut butter cups.
Reese's peanut butter cups.
That's good. I think that's a.
I should get paid for that.
Have
they could use that. I should get paid for that 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Oh, Larry, if we could get paid for all of our little jingles here, we would have
bring them
some
back.
Change. Yeah. Zahir is a fan of Three Musketeers. Ooh, I do not like Three Musketeers. No, I don't like. I don't like Two Musketeers. I don't like one. I especially don't like Three Musketeers.
Well, Sam, I am. Why don't you tell us about it? Okay.
I know. I am a fan of Snickers, as Scott says. Once when I was a kid, my mom got a box of Snickers for my cousins and I to eat. Like over the course of like a month. We ate them in one night. We each had 10. Of
course you did.
Yeah, of course we did. I found out where my mom was hiding them, and my two cousins were over, and we each had 3 we each had 10 Snicker bars, like the big ones, Larry, like the real size Snicker bars.
No mini.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Libby's a fan also of Reese's peanut butter cups, especially frozen. I've never done that.
I freeze candy bars now. I've cookies and cream Hershey's and Nestle's Crunch and Crackle bars. I like them frozen because they don't melt. Ooh. They're not soft. They're like brittle and
Ooh.
But Reese's cups.
I know what I'm doing tonight.
Whoa.
I'm gonna freeze some candy and
that sounds a little bit more sensual than I was expecting. So whatever you're gonna do with your Reese's cups, just keep it to yourself. Okay.
Linda says I'm wearing my comm badge at work today. Yes. Oh no, my comm badge. Linda, I often do that. Now I'm all crooked here. I often have my com badge.
Fruits
Oh
out.
no, now it fell off. Oh gosh. The Kelvin timeline is decoupling here. Oh great, now my medal came off. I like to wear my com badge in different situations, just for fun. That's a great way of sharing a little bit of Star Trek during the day. Um, let's see.
Uh,
Oh,
Linda, I'm just curious how many of your coworkers, does every one of your coworkers recognize it as a Star Trek badge, or do you have some people that just think you're just wearing a pin? I'm curious.
Larry,
Wow.
I had no idea. Is Jesse just says extra special viewing as Sir Sean Connery just passed away today.
Oh, I haven't seen. Oh my
That
God.
that would explain maybe why Zahir is watching The Rock. Oh, I had no idea. Hmm. Um.
I haven't, I was up late and got up early and
Yeah. No, I didn't go on social media or
we're
news
we
at
were
all
we
this
we do
morning.
this show at God Awful Time Saturday morning. Oh no, it's a
Yeah.
wonderful time.
No, my Saturday mornings is trying to get my daughter fed, changed, and ready to go, and then handing her off to my wife so I can do the show. I had no idea.
It's a good
That
bit of
is
badge.
that's a loss. Sean Connery's played so many roles that brought so much joy to our lives. Uh, um, Folks, what are your favorite Sean Connery roles? He's had so many wonderful ones. I think it's hard to top James Bond, and it's also hard to top The Rock, whoever the heck he's playing in The Rock. I don't know the name of the character, but um, Larry, my friend who I actually went to see the Atlantis launch with, my friend Matt, he did a study abroad or a summer in Scotland, and one of the first things he did was he wanted to go to a traditional Scottish bar, and he did. And you know who he saw there? Was Sean Connery. His first day in Scotland, he walked into a Scottish bar and he saw Sean Connery. And I think he said like, "Well, my trip. This is the
Right,
peak of my trip. This is the
right,
peak of my
right,
month
right.
in
That's
Scotland."
almost as good
Um,
as Armin Sherman letting me into Quarks for the first time in at the experience.
Wait, I don't know the story. Tell
You
me
don't
the
know the
story.
story? So on the
No.
gala opening night, when there were 5,000 big wigs, middle, little, and big wigs, all crammed in the experience, and there's four, there were four rides at the beginning, and it's just the ride. The Klingon encounter was just the ride at the beginning before the Borg. Anyway, so there's everything. They've dropped the curtain. They have the big thing. They have all these studio and
And
vendor
had
and big
anyone
wigs
seen it?
press.
Had you seen photos or anything
I
of it?
worked, well, no, I'd been working there for like a week. I
Yeah.
was there early, then came home.
Yeah.
So no, I knew stuff inside. I'm trying to think but they didn't have the ride working. I hadn't gone on the ride, but Janet was with me. We were coming back from Christmas because it was like the Friday night weekend after New Year's Day. So we were like, and back when we used to drive back and forth to Oklahoma over the holidays, and the kids were upstairs in the room. They didn't want to mess with it. Ha ha ha. So we're down and we're all in our tuxes and night stuff because it's a gala opening, but there's like so many people. And after a while, it's like, I don't care if you're the vice president of, Doodahville. We can only cram so many people on this ride. And then it was cramming into Quarks and getting to sit down and order food, much less just get a drink, was the same way. And there was just a mile-long line to get into Quarks. And I'm like, well, this is sad. This is ridiculous. So I just broke away. Janet stayed in line. And if you remember, it was a promenade. It was a circular
Yep.
promenade around
Yep.
Quarks with the retail shops. And she stayed in line. I don't know. We were probably 30 or 40 or 50 people back. And I just walked around the side just to see what it looked like with people inside and look at the shops. And I just kind of walked down along. And when I got to the back door of Quarks, they had doors that opened onto the promenade, back near the old original stage, I looked up and I saw Armin. And I didn't even think about it, but I saw him and I was like, oh, hi. And it was like nanosecond, like, oh, he can let us in maybe. And he was like, oh, hi. And I said, can you let us? Because we couldn't open the door from the out, but they could push out, right? he's like, oh yeah. So he comes over to the, like, they're all, sardined in too. And he's going to open the door. And I go, let me get Janet. So I like run up, I grab her. I was like, come on, like, get over here. So we like get out of the line, run around the side, come in the door. And we're just like, oh my God, thank God somebody let us in. This is awesome. We skipped the line. And then as the door shut behind me, it was like, oh my God. My first time to walk into Quark's, and Quark let me in the door.
Anyway, Quark's bar. That's amazing.
So anyway, but I think your friend Sean Connery's story is awesome too.
No, that's a good one. My favorite thing about Quark's bar is after you order your food, your drink, and when you get your bill, the Ferengi would say, "And here's your damage report." I loved that so much. That was one of my favorite parts of Star Trek: The Experience. With Sean Connery, I think Charlotte and Zahir both mentioned Dr. Jones in Indiana Jones. That's probably my favorite role of Sean Connery's, because his chemistry with Harrison Ford in The Last Crusade is just phenomenal. It is so much fun to see those two with each other. That was
Scott just poked me here. You talk about your little mini K3 a while ago. He's right. Sean Connery's connection to Star Trek.
Tell me more.
The Final Frontier. They wanted to cast Lawrence Luckenbill wound up playing Sybok, but Harve Bennett's first, like, Scott. Oh look, we just had this huge budget. The biggest movie of all was Star Trek IV. We're going to plan for this. Blue Sky, and Shatner's going to direct it. They actually approached Sean Connery about playing Sybok.
I can totally see that.
You did not know that? And Sean
I did not know this. You didn't know about Benicio del Toro as Khan. So I think where the universe is writing itself here, we're kind of bringing some balance to the force.
But it's just a Kelvin movie.
You're talking about Star Trek V, my friend.
I know, but still, in the cosmic view of things, Star Trek. No, here's the thing, though. It's some kind of like sop to get him to. They offer so that the planet of the Vulcan afterlife planet, whatever. Shakari is a corruption of Sean Connery. There you go, guys.
Wow.
You didn't know.
Wow. I love that.
Thank you, Scott, for poking me. So, yes, I wasn't going to think of it in time. Yeah.
Oh, before B8 and Shakari. I can totally see that. Wow, folks. What a ride it's been today. I hope this episode has brought you some joy and some fun.
I said that story, Libby. I'm sorry. Libby said, great story. I wish I could have gotten to see Quark's bar. I know, hon. I know. I wish you could have too.
I wish we could all have our Life Support Live retreat there. Larry, I'm going to start playing our music, our sad music.
At least it's not the scary music. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have scary. I should have done that. I should have done the Enterprise, the Mirror Universe Enterprise intro theme. I should have played that, but then CBS would have pulled us from the internet. Larry, as the music starts to play, where can people find more of you this week?
Oh, well, this week, you can always find me at LarryNemecek.com, at Larry Nemecek on Twitter. Can you put up the image for what's coming up in 10 days? Because it's huge news, guys. Our open house, on one hand, we delayed for November 11th, but on the other hand, I can finally announce that our guest is David Carson this year. Are you cutting things off? I don't know. Can you center it? Maybe it's just me. David Carson, who directed Yesterday's Enterprise, who directed Emissary, the DS9 pilot. He directed Star Trek Generations, and several other episodes. But that was the pinnacle. David Carson's going to be my guest, and the open house is the week, the event that we open up the gates and let everybody into Portal 47 from it. That's coming up November 11th. Go to LarryNemecek.com, click on Save Your Seat. You can get in for all the door prizes and everything. So, and I'm announcing that today. It's been up sitting there the last few hours, but this is the first public announcement. So everybody, please spread the word. If you see it on socials, please like and share it around all over the place. But yeah, that's the next exciting thing coming up. There's also another virtual event I'll tell you about next week. that's coming up that I'm just going to be yet another one from the folks at Science Division called the Vendors Hall, HAUL. It's all the licensees for gift giving. It's going to be November 7th all day on a Saturday. So that's coming up too. But please, everybody, go over and check out the open house.
And you can check me out on social media. I'm at Mattu. I have a new episode of The Psych Show that came out last week about how to learn psychology quickly. I have another new episode coming out this upcoming week about my biggest epic fails as a psychologist. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Only one episode?
Only one, Larry. I can't do these 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 shows you do every week. But folks, we hope you have a happy...
fails. I didn't know if you crammed them all into one.
I see. Well, have a happy, safe Halloween, everyone. Until next time, live long and prosper.
Yep. Trek well, everybody.